Good morning and welcome to another episode of Tidbits. And honestly, I'm not sure if this is 8 or 9, but I think it's 9. So today's episode is titled Two Engines and a Tool. And actually, one of the sellers of the engine was a tool. But we'll get to that. So, on the table here, you can see that it seems like I've got poor lighting once again. Let me see if I can brighten this up a bit here. Can that brighten anything up? Anyway, I don't understand. It's really cloudy outside. So anyway, on the stand, the table, hobby bench, I've got two engines and a tool. Let's start with one of the engines, which is this engine. This was an engine that I just recently picked up, and it is an incomplete OS 25 FSR engine. Now, the story about why I purchased this fairly inexpensive engine is because I have a 25 FSR that I bought a year and a half, 2 years ago. Ran it one time, and if you watch that video, ran it a couple times, and I thought I had in-play in it. And I wanted to disassemble the thing a year and a half or so ago to determine why there was in-play in this double ball bearing supported crankshaft engine. So I began to do a disassembly on it and determined that whoever sold it to me from Canada, there were two of the head screws were nearly stripped out. So I bailed on it. I was just like, I'm not messing with this. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I managed to get those out. And so now I have a rather complete engine there, but I bought this one with the hopes of using this one as spare parts to make one whole engine. Now this is an incomplete engine. As I said, it's a 25 FSR, and the person that sold it to me, if you're interested in who this tool is, I'll let you know, because this person was a real tool. Let me zoom in here and I'll explain why this person was a tool. So the engine came incomplete, and the ad said it was incomplete, but what it didn't say was that it didn't have a OS carb on it. This came with a Fuji carb, which might be okay, but in my opinion, if it's not an OS carb, it's an inferior carb, period. So it didn't come with an exhaust, didn't come with a prop nut, but what I was really interested in getting with this engine was a head and screws that hopefully would come out. So I haven't done anything with this engine, and he says it's new, never been run, which I don't believe anything this tool says. Although it doesn't smell like it's ever been run. But so, and the thing is, why he's a tool is, when I ordered this and got it, because his pictures in the ad were very deceptive. I think he showed one like this, and then he showed one like this. So you couldn't really see, and maybe something like, weird, where it was very unclear what the carb was. The 2 or 3 pictures in the ad were such that maybe there was one that was a close-up like this, but you couldn't tell what the carb was at all. So when I got it and I was looking at it, I was like, what the heck is this all about? So I sent him a message and I said, look, and this is one of those guys that's no returns, whatever. So I sent him a message saying, hey, look, I think you had a little bit of deceptive advertising going on there, because this engine doesn't have an OS carb. You did not mention that it did not have an OS carb, nor did you show pictures showing that it did not have an OS carb. So what are you going to do about this? And I waited 36 hours for a response, and then they just posted a negative response flaming the guy. So if you're interested in knowing who this eBay seller is and you want to stay away from him, that's what I would highly recommend, because he's a frickin' tool. So I've got a partial 25 FSR engine that I might do something with. I might run it. I might disassemble it. I might replace bearings on it, because I bought bearings from Boca to replace the bearings in a 25 FSR as part of my collaboration deal with Boca. So maybe they go in this engine, maybe they go in the other one I've got. I don't know. So we're going to go next to another tool. So let me zoom out just a hair on this one. This is a tool that my buddy Harvey tipped me off to that was available. And I have heard of these, and over the last 30-something years, and it's the motor drive washer puller. Now to me, this is something that's as rare as hen's teeth, because I've never seen them advertised. Now when I do my searches on eBay, I'm typically searching for engines, so I don't know if these would come up on a search for an engine, but I've never really seen them just listed anywhere, so I kind of figured they were just a rare commodity. But the person that I bought this from, Bobby Brooks, Shitterman on eBay, really fantastic guy, sells a lot of Enya stuff. He says that, you know, OS makes limited production runs of these. So this is a drive puller washer. I had questions about whether I really wanted to open it or not, because I really think these are kind of rare, but I'm going to open it because I might want to use it. I mean, I have the 3-jaw pliers that I use to remove drive washers with, but this is ideal. I mean, this is what you want in a not a bearing puller, in a tool to remove drive washers. Ideally, is one that, if I can get it out, one like this. Look at this beautiful piece of work of art. One like this. This is ideal. So you put it on there and then you do this. So and that's why I'm probably going to make a separate video of this also, because I want to see, it doesn't fit every OS engine, it only fits some. And of course it's not going to fit on this one yet because this drive washers, or this prop washer's on here. But so the thing with this is, it won't fit it won't fit that. Wait, let's get this all the way retracted. Maybe that's my issue here. That's interesting. So it doesn't fit onto an OS FS60 engine, which is bizarre, because it says basically, I think something like it fits 40 to, there was a description there, smaller engines. So it's got 2 separate areas here where you can engage a prop hub. But the thing that I was telling Harvey was, and I bought this thing and it wasn't cheap, it was $40, but it was kind of one of those things where it's a good one to have, and I thought it was rare, and it's a tool, so I like tools, except tool sellers on eBay. I don't like those kind of tools. But this is awesome. But then I was telling Harvey, I was like, well, guess what? You know, a lot of the OS prop hubs, they don't have a tapered collet. Many of them don't. Many of them are just either they've got a Woodruff key or they've got flats cut, like the pre-Surpass series of the 40 and maybe even that 25 FSR just has flats cut. So it's not like you really super need a big puller to get those off. You heat them up and they come right off. It's not like you're overcoming a lot of mechanical gripping force like with the tapered collets on Satos. So I mean, this is, look at that, it's kind of like an airplane propeller. I like this. It's a nice looking tool. I'll see if it'll get used. Maybe what I'll do is I'll pull out all the OS engines I've got and see how many it fits. But so like I said, it's nice, it's beautiful, but it'd be nice if you could have a mechanism like this with a mechanism that would adapt to any size prop hub on any engine, because this mechanism for pulling it off is much better than trying to clamp it. Well, I mean, the bearing puller I've got works. It's just, but this is much easier. If it fits, you just slide it on, and you're done. You don't have to sit there and fumble with 2 or 3 jaws and all that kind of stuff. So that's that. The final segment of this Tidbits episode is this beautiful thing. This is a Fox 60 dual plug blue head engine. Now this is an engine that I had its older brother, or its bigger, not older. I had its bigger brother 5 years ago called a Fox 74. Exact same type of construction, dual plug, same carb. The only thing that this one does not have is it does not have a blue anodized spinner. It should come with a blue anodized spinner. It also doesn't have a box. But this was an engine that I had been eyeballing for probably a month and a half. And then if you look at something, you click on eBay often, a listing on eBay often enough, it will say, oh, the seller has sent you an offer of X amount off. So I was like, okay. So anyway, I haven't left a feedback for this guy yet, but this is a really awesome engine. It doesn't look like it's ever been run except for when it was run at the factory, and it's got massive compression. Now I did pull these two plugs. They are both Fox plugs. This one is a Fox without an idle bar. This one is a Fox with an idle bar. Now the 74 I had the dual plugs offset heights just like this. So you can see that the heights of these plugs are offset also. But those plugs looked a lot older. They looked really original. These look more like modern Fox plugs. I don't know for sure, but I mean, it seems like I remember something about the other ones looking a little bit different. Like one of them was, the one that I'm taking out here was a really short plug. And this one doesn't look like, it just looks like a Fox standard long plug. And let me pull this other one out and put it side by side so you can see. To me that looks like a Fox standard long, and then this is a Fox idle bar plug. So here's that one. And I don't know why Duke Fox decided to put dual plugs in the head and then one be require or one have an idle bar, because out of the two engines I've had of this design, 100% of them had an idle bar plug and the other plug was not. So that must have been just the design. Now, like I said, this didn't come with a box, but it did come with some printed instructions, which I had found online, but the printed instructions also came, the seller also printed these instructions. So let's zoom out on this a little bit here. You can see this is basically what the printed instructions would have looked like anyway. It's just just a sheet of paper, front and back, Fox manufacturing. Does it say? See, this is for the 60 and the 74 RC. So I've had both of these engines. The 74 had a big, huge, heavy box. It was a really high quality box. But let's see here, propeller to use. An 11.8 pitch propeller, I've got that, is recommended for faster, clean models, while 12.7, 12.6, or 13.5 seem to work better for slower flying models. Will run on a variety of glow fuel. We have found a mixture of 1 gallon of Duke's fuel plus a gallon of commercial methanol to be excellent. I don't know what Duke's fuel is, so I really don't know what that combination would have resulted in. Tests have been run satisfactory on mixes as thin as 96% alcohol and 4% castor. However, the cylinder wear rates seem to go up rapidly with mixes containing less than 10% castor oil. If maximum power output is desired, higher nitro fuel such as missile mist or blast can be used, straight or thinned with methanol. You should bear in mind that both missile mist and blast contain nitroethane, to which only epoxy finishes seem totally resistant. So, and there's a whole, since this has got a rather interesting and complex looking carb on it, it's got, and I talked about this in detail when I did my run of 74. So here's the high-speed needle. Imagine trying to do that and keep your finger out of this area, because it's not sticking out. It's just this little big round disc thing with a really thin little cutout notch in there. So maybe you could use a screwdriver, but geesh, I don't know. And then, I'm not sure, I can't remember, in my video where I ran the 74, I detailed this. I don't remember all of these. There's a screw here, there's a screw here, and then this is a low speed adjustment here, kind of like that high speed. It's a disc. But the funny thing is, that's also where your fuel goes in. So it's like you have to try to work around the fuel tubing and not disconnect the fuel tubing. So I don't know. This is just kind of one of those things where I would like to run this. I will probably run this at some point. But man, I want to try and I will read these instructions to try to get it set up as closely as possible if they give initial settings, because I don't want to be having to try to turn and twist these weird things with that big prop, you know, very close to my hands like that. So anyway, that's our Tidbits episode for today. So 2 tools, one's a human tool, one's an awesome tool, and 2 engines. So, enjoy.